The online is the main problem. This is the biggest problem. The biggest problem. It makes competing awful because I can't stream and play at the same time.
You may have noticed, people hate playing Smash Bros Ultimate online. But why do Smash players complain so much when so many other competitive games play predominantly online and everyone seems to enjoy it? Are Smash Bros players just a bunch of whingers, or does playing Smash Bros online really have that much of a significant impact on how the game compares to playing it offline? It does, and I'm going to explain why. First, we're going to look at how playing Smash Bros Online changes the gameplay, and then how the online system itself has failed Smash Bros competitive player base. It has been proven that in Smash Bros Ultimate, the time between reacting and pressing a button to that input registering on the screen is around 18 to 20 frames. This means if an opponent throws out an attack that is faster than 18 frames, it is impossible for you to react to it. Whilst if they throw out an attack that is slower than 18 frames, if you react absolutely perfect, you can shield it. This delay is already far larger than previous Smash Bros iterations. Smash Bros Melee is the other Smash Bros game that is still thriving competitively due to its high pace and technical nature.
Son of a down air! That could have been the set!
This is big.
He's so far away. And that's it. Down there every day is the week.
This graph shows the delay between pressing a button on your controller and that button being input on the screen. Those long vertical lines represent this delay in frames per second. We'll come back to this in just a moment. In all Smash Bros games, shield is an option that comes out on frame 1. As soon as the input is detected, it happens on the screen. However, due to the delay between controller and the game itself, the time between pressing shield and it appearing is 3 frames in Melee, while it is 6 frames in Smash Ultimate. Meaning offline gameplay in Smash Ultimate compared to Melee is twice as laggy. And it is noticeable. When Ultimate first came out, many Melee players in my local area joined in on the hype of Smash Bros Ultimate and wanted to play friendlies. They immediately noticed the lag of Smash Bros Ultimate, describing that it was like playing in mud and saying that you would just press a button and then wait for it to happen on the screen. This is because for them, the game essentially feels twice as laggy as it should. This means that in a game that is already laggy when played offline, playing online is just adding fuel to the fire. Alright, let's get the technicalities out of the way first. The netcode for Smash is, well, not good. You might have heard the word netcode thrown around a lot lately, but what does it mean? Well, Smash Bros Ultimate uses a delay-based netcode, simply meaning you have to wait for your opponent's inputs to come over the internet and to your Switch. This can be an issue because the lag doesn't stay the same. Your delay could be around 4 frames, then suddenly jump up to 7 frames. It's going to throw off your timing, and if you're in the middle of a combo when suddenly the timing you were supposed to fast fall or throw out the next attack changes, it's going to make you miss the combo. And then what if the message from your opponent's Switch just never comes at all? Well then your Switch needs to stop the game, hold everything, and then continue the game. Now this is what that stopping and starting lag looks like when you're actually in the game. And if you decided to press A when that freeze happened, your input just never actually happened. People usually call this eating inputs, because the lag literally takes your input and swallows it up like it never happened. It is a huge pain that I'm sure many of us have faced before.
God, does this game suck with f***ing lag!
Many fighting games get around this by having a rollback netcode. there is still the input delay that the developer would choose. Let's say it's around 4 frames, exactly the same as delay-based netcode so far. However, what happens now if there's a sudden delay of 7 frames, or even worse, that you don't get your opponent's inputs at all? Well, the game simply keeps running. That's right, the game guesses that what has been happening on the screen is going to continue happening on the screen, and the game simply continues using only your inputs. In 90% of cases, this makes no difference to the game whatsoever. Let's go back to that same situation where you're in the middle of a combo and delay jumps from 4 frames to 7 frames. But your game wants to keep playing at a 4-frame delay. So there are going to be 3 frames where your game has no inputs from your opponent that you're comboing whatsoever. So your game guesses that Peach's down air is going to continue to hit Luigi for the next 3 frames. While in the background, your game checks and makes sure that did happen when it finally receives your opponent's inputs. And guess what? No matter what the player pressed, that down air was going to connect. So the game guessed right, and it's all good. So you as the player see and feel absolutely no change, and you are able to hit your combo as if there was a 4-frame delay the whole time. This is very often the case because when you're committed to a move, you're often committed to the action for around 20 or 30 frames. So of course the game is going to be able to predict what is going to happen without it constantly needing to receive inputs every single frame. But what happens in the worst case scenario? Your opponent was just about to input forward smash as there was a lag spike. Usually in delay-based netcode, the input would get swallowed up and the forward smash wouldn't come out at all because the game said no, hold on, we're on pause mode. In a rollback netcode, the game would go, well, there's lag, I'm going to assume Mario is still just going to stand there. And then 3 frames later, it checks and it was like, oh, whoops, Mario is actually inputting forward smash. So the game jumps forward 4 frames into Mario's forward smash instead of starting it on frame 1. Something that is almost impossible to distinguish with the naked eye. Now, that was the worst case scenario situation, but the benefit of the rollback netcode means that your timing is always going to feel the same no matter what you're doing, and it is always going to feel like you're playing offline. Oh, Ganondorf is about to drop me and I have to press L to tech? That timing is always going to be the same. Oh, I need to hit B at the right time here for Incineroar's side B to connect? Oh, this arrow is coming at me and I need to shield it. It's always the same time. However, with Smash Bros. Ultimate's current netcode, this is simply not the case. Every time you play a different opponent with a different amount of input delay, you need to adjust your timing on every single thing. And it is impossible to do because internet itself is never stable, and so the amount of lag is going to consistently change while you are playing. So there is nothing you can do, and you're going to keep getting hit by projectiles, and games that use rollback netcode like Killer Instinct, a game that came out 7 years ago, are still praised for having great online servers due to the netcode. So why doesn't Nintendo use this netcode for Ultimate? Well, simply put, they can't. To use rollback netcode, the system needs to be simulating multiple versions of the game at once, showing you what it thinks will happen on your screen, but then constantly checking to make sure it did happen and adjust accordingly if it didn't. The Nintendo Switch just doesn't have the power to do this. It's a handheld device at the end of the day and doesn't have the hardware to match other consoles. It is quite impressive, honestly, that it is able to run Smash Bros. Ultimate at 60 frames per second, but it has no chance of running more of it than it can already. The only solution in my eyes would be to have the game look visually worse than it does so that the Switch can handle a rollback netcode, or even having an option so you can turn down the graphics to use a rollback netcode. But I just don't think Nintendo are ever going to want to make their game look visually worse than it does, so that it can handle a rollback netcode, because doing this is going to satisfy such a small audience for their game that is targeted towards children. Especially while they're in Japan, which is such a small island with incredibly fast and reliable internet speeds, it usually makes up for their bad netcode, as well as it being more expensive and harder to implement. But we're only just getting started. This means that playing Smash Ultimate Online actually changes how good certain characters are. For example, Ness is seen as a pretty good character by most top players. Not amazing, but not bad.
You know who else is top tier on Wi-Fi? Ness.
However, online, many players consider him to be one of the best, if not the best character. He has easy combos that he doesn't have to react to keep going. He doesn't really need to react to edgeguard his opponent either, because he can just throw out PK Thunder. His yo-yo means that he is able to time his move to catch his opponent coming to the ledge every time easily, while other characters would usually miss the timing. He hits hard and kills come very easy for him, so he clearly benefits from online. His main weakness is his lack of range, and he really struggles against sword characters. However, online, your ability to react to your opponent's movement and keep a safe distance is much harder, meaning Ness's biggest weakness is also less of a factor now. This is one example of how online can drastically change how good one character is, and you can see it in the results of Best Ness. Best Ness has suddenly become what appears to be one of the best players in the world, with Ness, while defeating sword characters.
Oh my goodness.
That might
That's
be
it.
it.
Oh, we got him.
That's it.
Yes, that's 3-0 to win the Quarantine Series.
That would traditionally cause him huge issues. And this isn't having a go at Best Ness. He admitted it himself that online was a large contributor to his first place finishes lately. You can see a big difference between tier lists coming from top players for playing Smash Bros offline and playing Smash Bros online. Characters with projectiles are immediately buffed. Offline generally gives you just enough time to see a projectile coming and shield it or jump over it just in the nick of time and continue playing. However, when you add in those extra frames of delay when playing online, it means now you have no chance. You're not going to be able to react fast enough in a lot of cases, and you're simply going to get hit in the face with a lot of projectiles, and it is incredibly frustrating. And so characters like Young Link, Samus, and Mega Man are seen as far stronger characters online.
Ooh, double fair.
Oh,
Reads
no
the
jump, no jump.
Dang
Oh
ya.
my god.
All that training room practice, just in case you don't think you need to do it. Look at this.
Oh,
look at this.
Goodness
Look
gracious.
at this.
Stays underneath the platforms. That's what you're supposed to go for.
Oh my goodness. CLG Void with the closer off the top platform.
Generally, many characters that people find the most enjoyable to watch are the high speed characters that use technical combos. Landing combos in lag, as explained before, is very difficult in Smash Bros. Online, as timing for when you should press your button is constantly changing. However, another unique aspect to comboing in Smash Bros. In comparison to traditional fighting games is DI. As you're being comboed, you can slightly influence the direction you get hit. This is known as DI, or directional influence. If you're going to be good at comboing in Smash Bros, not only do you have to master the timing of the inputs for your combos, you need to be reacting fast to your opponent's DI as well. And online just makes this impossible. While offline you are able to react and land your combo, online simply forces you to just guess which way your opponent is going to go, because you're not going to be able to react. So all these characters that rely on precise, exciting combos are immediately worse, while these characters who are able to throw out moves that force your opponents to react, which they can't, are immediately seen as better. And I can certainly tell you which ones I personally enjoy watching and fighting against more. Let's say you're playing an opponent offline and they're not the best. They play Bowser and they throw out a lot of down airs and a lot of down Bs when they're in the air, which you are able to react and shield or dodge. And they throw out a lot of forward smashes to try and kill you when you're at kill percent. but this move comes out on frame 22, meaning it's above our 18 frame threshold we talked about earlier, and so you are able to play patient and react and shield this move and punish them. Well, now you're playing them online, and there's a 6 frame delay. Now you're going to have a bad day. Down air is a move that you want to shield. He falls down to try and hit you, and there's a lot of lag, so if you shield it, you can punish him. However, if he's in the air and presses down B, this move breaks your shield in one hit, and simply means you're dead. Well, that's okay, because you can get under him and hold shield, and if the down air comes out, you punish him, and if the down B comes out, you simply roll, dodge, and hit him. Well, not online. You can no longer react. Yeah, it sucks. Online sucks. And now all those silly forward smashes that you know are coming, so you always have in the back of your mind to be ready to react to them and shield them. Well, now those extra 6 frames of lag means that instead of 18 frames, you now need 24 frames to react to something. And Bowser's forward smash comes out on frame 22, so you can't react to it anymore. So not only does online buff a lot of frustrating characters, it also means that players are now rewarded for choosing silly options that would get them punished in an offline match of Smash Bros. And losing to a player that you know is worse than you and you could easily beat them in the game if it was just offline is very annoying. These are the results of MkLeo, the undisputed greatest Smash Ultimate player.
But the up smash doesn't connect us to the platform.
Oh, that's it. This will be a legendary tale.
Wait, and it's not. The tail's over. Book's cut. I'm sorry, bro.
Spike it. He mistimes it. He grabs the ledge. And with that, MkLeo defeats Tweak to be your 2019 EVO champion.
Since the 26th of May 2019, he has made grand finals at every single major tournament he has attended, coming first at 12 out of 16 of them. To show you just how impressive that is, let me show you the results for the second best player in Smash Bros Ultimate, Samsora. From that same date, Samsora has made grand finals 9 of 21 times, and he has finished in first place 5 of those 21 times. And guess what? Out of those 5 first place victories, only one of them was MkLeo competing at the tournament. Shine 2019, the only major tournament ever where the second best player beat the best player to win grand finals. So yeah, MkLeo is pretty dominant. But now with the whole pandemic situation forcing online tournaments to be the new standard, how has MkLeo been doing?
Closing the gap.
Ever since that first stock of
Oh, baby! That's it! That is it! Wow! Best Nest 3-0ing MkLeo out of this bracket with Piranha Plant.
Oh, that's it.
Ooh, got him. That's wonderful. Wow.
The Wi-Fi might be a little troublesome for Leo. What do you think?
Oh my god!
Oh, and he's not able to come back. It might actually be online play, but
Sometimes I see Leo go for back air. Both those attacks, he went for back air and fair, but they didn't come out because he wasn't planning for the Wi-Fi lag enough, and that was now it's going.
Okay, he can't.
And that is going to be it.
Not good. As I'm editing this video, he hasn't even won once. Proof that when playing Smash Bros online, the better player, at least by offline standards, doesn't always win. Or in this case, never wins. So that is how online affects the gameplay of Smash Bros for the worse. But that's not all there is to complain about. The system itself for online Smash Bros is far from perfect. First of all, the game doesn't allow you to taunt online, so people resort to teabagging. What's up with that? But so the way online works is that you play, and if you win a game, your GSP, or Global Smash Power, goes up. If you lose, it goes down, matching you with opponents that have a similar GSP to you, and eventually, if you win enough, you are put into Elite Smash, where you only play against the best of the best online players unless you lose too much and your GSP drops below the Elite Smash threshold and you get booted out. Although it may seem good, there's a few big issues with this feature. For one, the changes in GSP after a win or a loss are not consistent whatsoever. You could win a match and gain 50,000 GSP, then lose a match and lose 1,000,000 GSP. It's all over the place and nobody knows why. Secondly, it discourages people playing if they lose even one match. Oh no! No, he rage quit too! What is this? Okay, maybe I should play a different character. People don't want their GSP to drop, so if you play someone in 1 2-minute match and then you win, it is highly likely they are going to leave. Because why would they want to hang around and continue to lose GSP? So then you have to find another game and the process continues. Encouraging players to leave after 1 2-minute match rather than having them stay and play more with a player better than them so that they can learn is quite anti-competitive, and it is very frustrating to constantly find new matches. You can't switch characters between matches either. Let's say you found an amazing opponent while you were mucking around with a character you aren't so good with. So you lost and now you want to switch to your best character to see how you do. Well, you can't. If you want to switch characters, you need to back out completely, switch characters and find a completely new random opponent. Don't ask me why I wait in the 10 seconds between matches. It doesn't just give you the option to switch characters. Nintendo says no.
Computer says no.
Well, could you speak with somebody?
I could, but...
Even with this whole GSP point system in place, there is no leaderboard. No way to tell if you're in the top 10 for your state. How good are you compared to the rest of your country? How good are you compared to your friends? You just have this randomly large number that constantly rises as more people play online. In fact, you need to check a fan-made website to even see what GSP you probably need to get into Elite Smash. It would be so easy to have a section that displays where you're ranked, and I don't know why Nintendo didn't do it. But luckily for us, there's tournament mode, where you get placed into a bracket. If you lose, you're out. If you win, you move on. The further you make it, the better spirit you get. Nintendo has blessed us with a game mode that promotes competitive play, encourages you to stay and play all of your matches. But you can't play with competitive rules. Usually this game mode is just free-for-alls, items on, and there is all other kinds of crazy game modes added, which I think is good, but as if they just don't have a 1v1 competitive stages or even just battlefield only, final destination only option. It would be perfect for competitive play. And of course, finally, if you want to try and play online and deal with all of this nonsense, you have to pay. Before the video ends, I just wanted to ask if you guys could please subscribe and share this video around. It helps so much, and I'm not a huge channel, so any support is going to help me be able to spend more time making high quality videos for you all. If you've never seen my channel before, I have tutorials as well as funny videos, so please check them out, and thank you so much for watching.